Welcome everybody. Uh, Welcome to the stream. Um, Here we go. Um, I think today I'm gonna do a mask. I'm gonna do a mask. Maybe flower and peon, maybe chrysanthemums and and a snake, maybe a dragon. Maybe a honey badger. Oh, I'm gonna do a honey badger just cause I said I did a Wolverine yesterday. I'm gonna do a honey badger today. So I'm gonna torture myself with pushing this creative muscle. Um yeah, and also before I even get into the drawing, as I'm doing this, I'm gonna dedicate this show also to uh, uh, one of my best friends that passed away 2 years ago, Jose Soto. I mentioned him a couple of times in the past in interviews and because I just wanted him to get his just due um, recognition. Um, his birthday is next month on the 21st. It's crazy because he passed away 2021. Wild. April 1st, I think it's April 1st, April 2nd of 2021. Another fellow tattooer, a friend of mine, Regino Gonzalez called me and told me. And it was a shock because that's probably one of the only dudes I was like, yo, I want to be an old man with this dude, like thinking about like that type of longevity, like, but you don't know how these things turned out. He's my best friend and it's the guy that taught me how to tattoo. Like I could draw already. I could draw a little bit. I understood form or whatever, looking at the picture, replicating it the best of my ability at that time when I was that young, but he showed me how to tattoo. Jose, let me turn this off. Turn the heater off. Um, so it's gonna be a 3-part show, maybe. A little bit about I gotta. Somebody asked me about upbringing. So I was like, yeah, I'll talk about it. I'll talk about what it was like, growing up. Um, Growing up and before tattooing and stuff like that, and what was like driving force and stuff. Yeah. So Jose Soto, let's look him up. What the hell? Crazy, right? People I know. Whoa. Let's look us up. Jose Soto. Yeah, this is my homie, man. This is the brethren. All right, so Jose, let me find a good picture of him. And we you know what? I got a good picture of this dude. Sorry about that. Let's show the photo. My boy Jose. This is a good one. It's kind of looking away in a red room, I think. I can't remember where it was. I think it's on his Facebook page. This dude was dope. I did his arm. He tattooed me. Yeah. So it's hard. It's really hard. I never really talked about him that much. Death is not. It's something that like I don't know if anybody even knows this about me, but I'm not comfortable with death. Like it's something. It's not like I'm afraid of death, but like I guess it's the when somebody comes into your life and I've heard people say this before. Yeah, um but that's it's a part of life, right? We come into this world, we experience life, and then we fade out in different times of our life, right? And so, um, my first one of the first things I remember about death was my grandfather passing, and I think it's more like the guilt of not when my grandfather called me over so he can touch me. I didn't go over to him, so I carry this weird guilt about not going to him when he gestured to me. I still remember it, man. I still remember it to this day. Still remember that feeling, and and I always said to myself, I wish I had gone to him and just hugged him. Because one of the last things I remember when I was a little kid is sitting on his lap and him making me a little truck out of wood, you know? Um, yeah. And so like now we're gonna fast forward and probably one of two very important people passed in the last couple of years to me, but was one was uh one was Jose, and the other was my best friend's mother, Donna, Um but Jose was part of my life. He's part of my life in the sense that I didn't know where I was gonna go after school. After high school, I dropped out. I'm a high school dropout. High school dropout, and this dude, that's my daughter sitting on my shoulders. But this dude, he helped me. He helped me like at that time in the early this and he was tattooing way before me. So if I've been tattooing this, let's say right now in my life, I've been tattooing uh for 20 20 plus years, 22 years. He's been tattooing probably like 25, 20. He would have been tattooing 26 years, 25 years, you know, 25 or 26 years. Um, and he was nice. Now Jose's a wizard. There's magicians, but a wizard is is to me, a wizard has fully tapped into magic, or what is magic, right? Has gotten to the highest level of magic. Well, Jose was a wizard of tattooing. He tapped into it. He tapped into it in all facets, you know? I'm layman's compared to him. He taught me how to make machines. He taught me, and now Jose didn't just make machines. This dude was like, he was like a tinkerer. There's a species in the Disney, in not Disney, in DC universe. Is these like they're like these, they make things. They make weapons. They're weaponers. They make. I can't remember the name. I'm gonna look them up too. I'm gonna do. There's gonna be a part 2 to this on his birthday, and I'm gonna talk about more about that. But Jose was, he can take apart, put it back together, and understood what he was doing. He made lathes, lathes. He made lathes for machinery. He would buy old ones and then figure out who he had to go to, and he figured it out. You know, um, he was my business partner, and he didn't know he was the partner. There was a picture of him coming to Skull and Sword, and he met the grind for the first time. This is back in 2016. It was just some of his tattoos. That's my big bro. We've we started this thing called Big Bro. Like, we called each other Big Brother. He was younger than me, but I miss my big brother because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be tattooed. I wouldn't have everything that I kind of have right now. He's probably one of them. He's one of the architectures of my life. I don't think he really understood that. But tattooers, we kind of know that. We know that the people that we come into our life early into our career, into what we start to into what we journey into, we don't realize we don't realize it. Some do, some don't. You know, I didn't have nothing. Yo, look what I didn't have nothing. You know, he would build stuff, man. I remember when he started talking about he was gonna build PCs, and he started doing PCs. He started building PCs from the ground up. He was like, that's the way you had to do it. You had to buy this, buy that, buy everything. And then you have a greater understanding of it. And that's kind of where I come from now. I've taken that from him. I've taken that advice that he gave me. He's like, yo, if you really want to understand something, you have to like take it apart and put it back together, you know? Take it apart, put it back together, and you'll find out where this comes from, where that comes from. Yeah, you figure out where all of these things come from, because that's how things are, right? Breaking it down and figuring out where it is and where it comes from. And I never I always told him thank you. I always told him thank you. Always told him thank you for everything. And when he passed away, I couldn't believe it. I didn't want to do another live without putting him in this and giving him this light, because he was one of the guys that one of the people that came into my life and like gave me the knowledge, right? He gave me the knowledge of tattooing. He gave me the knowledge of tattooing. Like he taught me how to like make needles. He told me how to make needles, man. He told me how to make needles from straight pins. You buy the pins from National. Yo, what's up, Dana? You buy the pins from National. That's where we were getting them at. I think there was another company, Crown Needles, that came out like I can't remember, like it was like early 2000s. It was more West Coast dudes. It was a West Coast company, and they were making needles in a small batch, and we found out about it because there's some tattoos that say that, oh yeah, and it kind of goes with tattooing. It kind of goes with Tough City. Tough City was special because Med knew Little Vinny, right? And at that time, Little Vinny Tattoos had Aaron Kane working there, right? And Med and Sesson, yes, they painted Little Vinny's pool, right? And I think there was a whole thing at the time. Med was going to do Tattoo TV, the original Tattoo TV, and he had already interviewed Paul Booth, Adrian Lee, but he interviewed Little Vinny, and at that time, it was kind of like the early. It might have been like the early inclinations of Workhorse Irons, because Aaron Kane was there at Little Vinny's tattoo, and it was at the time. Oh man, I wish I got to hit up this dude. Say, yo, do you have pictures of those early tubes that y'all were making? And it was like these early tattoo tubes, man, and it looked crazy. It looked like something from like some sci-fi movie. It looked more like a spaceship or a submarine than an actual tattoo tube, like not had like this ill knob on the top, like a screw knob. And I was like, what the fuck is that? And Jose, let's fact back. Jose called up Aaron. He called up the shop and was like, "Can I talk to Aaron Kane?" And Aaron, I guess he talked to Aaron Kane, and Aaron Kane was dropping them knowledge about that and machines because it was kind of like this. Well, all right, since you know little Vinny, blah blah blah, I'll tell you a little bit of something. So he was giving Jose knowledge of machines, and it was just like I was like, and so and so like I call Jose a wizard because he wasn't afraid to like figure it out or call certain people or call people and ask, and then it just made his it made his uh it made him strong. It made his knowledge even greater because what he already knew already before that, because of what before tattooing, maybe, you know. He also came from the graffiti background. Jose is kind of like one of those. Jose was kind of like one of those people that like could do all of it. All right, there was the knowledge. All right, it's like this. There was a time in art history when it's called multidisciplinary art. It means that from a young age they're teaching you all the things of art. Art is kind of like where they teach you math. They teach you you're learning like sculpture, sketching on it with whatever, clay, bricklaying. You're learning all of these different things in art, right? Architectural design. Um, you're learning the vocabulary of art. You're learning all these different things to make things like designing, you know, all the things that us human beings have now that we just kind of like we don't even blink an eye at it right now. Early artists, like when they talk about the masters, it wasn't just these guys just painted. No, but they did all of these different things. They learned how to they learned how to they learned how to sculpt in clay and also chisel and 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 you're just doing everything with marble and stone and masonry, and you're also you're a forger too, so you knew how to work metal. So you ain't just doing just little things. You're not just doing one field of art. You even know how to make your paint. There was some people that there was early knowledge of art where it was like, oh, how to make your paint, you know. Jose had that in him. He knew how to make ink. He knew how to make needles. I ain't talking about just no. He knew what steel to buy, right? And he could, and I think he knew how to just make a pen. He didn't just buy the pen. He figured out how to make a pen. He made a pen. That's crazy to me. He showed me how to. He showed we fit. He showed me a little, and it wasn't just all right. I'm gonna show you. It meant you need to start figuring it out too, because he understood sharing the knowledge, and then I had to also figure out what he did, and then from there, all right, what are your theories of what you're doing? Oh, I tried this. What do you think about this? Oh, let's try that. So it was probably like one of the first times in my life I didn't realize that we were doing this, but it kind of when I was working at Skull and Sword, it kind of like brought me back to Jose because Jose was the same fucking thing, but just a early version of it. But it wasn't like it did. He just didn't have it. He just didn't have that recognition like a Grime does, right? Or Aaron Kane does. But the dude could. He was on that level. He was on that level. He was on that level. He was on that level of he could spray paint. He could airbrush. You know, he's young too. This painting that you see right here, early 2000s. Like he still had it in 2013, but we did this when we were at Tough City. That's all spray paint, cut back, you know, fade whip, do all that shit. It's him building the P. He built this PC from scratch. Bought whatever he needed to do. I was like, dude, you're doing building PCs? He's like, yeah. He's getting online. He was doing all that, and he bought lathes, and this is early 2000. He still had this. He bought this and he rebuilt it. Bought a vintage, restored it. I taught when I say that this dude was when I say this dude was a wizard, he was a wizard. Just a wizard that wasn't in. He would. You know, it was. He's a wizard, and his machines was, oh man, his machines was so dope. His machines were so dope. And he was a big fan of Aaron Kane. He's like, nobody's fucking with Aaron Kane. Nobody. Because he said Aaron Kane was just on a different level. Different level, you know? And I have a bunch of them. I still have them locked in my drawer. I'll never get rid of them. I think this is most people knew about Bitcoin. 2010, he did this machine just before I think this is right after I left to come to California. Oh no, this is a year after I came out here because I came out early 2010. Yeah, man, homie was a wizard of everything, and I really miss him. I really miss him. He was carving with metal. He figured out the steel that Aaron Kane was getting. You know, maybe he might have been off, he might have been on. I don't know. He was redoing shaders. If you got a yo, please don't sell anything that if you got a machine from Jose Soto, don't sell. He'll keep that. Keep it. If you're a tattooer in the Bronx, he's a Bronx tattooer. BX all day. Yo, I'll say this. He's probably one of the best tattooers that New York ever produced. Met one of the best machine builders New York ever produced. Yo, this dude was dope, man. Really, really on a different level of thinking. Did everything. A true wizard of the craft of anything you do. A true wizard. And I think about him all the time. I think about his son. Son was the last person to see him. And I wanted him to come out to California and just like, we just do art and just paint and just and not even fucking tattoo, but just like just live a little bit. You know what I mean? Like he was going through it. I haven't used a coil. I haven't used a coil ever since he passed. That's the crazy thing. It's probably like only a few people I'll use coils from. You know, he's top. He's top 5, you know? Top 2. That's the crazy shit. Top 5 to top 2, you know? Nobody's fucking with his machine. Nobody. Yo, this dude's stuff is just. If you're a tattooer from the Bronx, you're most likely you were most likely passing by one of his tattoos and just didn't know it. You know, like you just didn't know it. He tattooed more people in the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens. Because tattooing was really young in New York at the time when he was tattooing. It was legalized in '95, but it was there was shops before him. Yes, yes, yes. Y'all gonna hear this and have your own shut the fuck. I don't give a fuck. I'm talking about not a lot of tattooers from Manhattan, Brooklyn, and Queens. Well, y'all weren't coming up to the Bronx, right? Bronx is all the way up there. So I know what I'm talking about. Um, so if you have a shop in the Bronx right now, Harlem, yo, this dude is probably one of the architects of that he's one of the architects of that borough, you know? Um he did this. See the paint that you looking at right now, he did that out of his apartment. Yo, he had there was I yo I, he had like when he was starting to make he oh man. Yo, look, what's that right there? Oh man. Your machine broke, you went to him, he fixed it, blah 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 blah. Held the machine a certain way, you know. Oh man, thumb to finger digits was just always when you look at a machine builder, look at how they hold the machines. There's a certain way they hold the machines. I used to always look at how he held the machines, and I try to replicate it. Like, what's he doing? What's he looking at? What's he measuring with his eyes? What's he feeling for? Oh, you need to change the spring. There's a little dust here. Just tighten this part. It's just hitting again. You know? He gave me my life. I know how to make ink. I know how to make machines. I know how to make needles. I know how to wrap. I know how to make a machine from scratch. Wrap the core, tap the core, wrap it, shrink wrap it. Homie was nice. Homie was nice with it. Look at his reference. You know what he was looking at, yo. He was on the cover of Interior Design. This nigga was like, "Oh yeah, I was on the cover of Interior Design." This nigga was wildin', bro. He just did it. He didn't care, yo. He could do it. That's some. It's just did it. They probably didn't really know who he was. He was like, "We're just gonna get a regular street artist," but they didn't know how special he was. This is how it is. There's levels to it, right? There's like levels to it of recognition and know and whatever. Um, this is him building the PC out. Everything you see, except for the screws except for the screws, right? And the wiring and the capacitor, right? And the shrink wrap. He did himself. Yeah. So bugged out. It's bugged out, man. Like to lose this dude. I'm heartbroken to this day. Wow, B. All right. I'm gonna jump off this, folks. I'll be back later on. Peace. Peace, Jose. Love you. Booyakasha.